And welcome. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy. And I'm in a tin can again. Kinda. Yeah. I don't know. That's a little better. But we'll go anyways. Good morning to everyone. Good morning to the other fuckers in the room.
Good morning, sir. How you doing today?
Mike, how are you?
Doing all right. Just trying to catalog my hat inventory. That way I can plan it out properly moving forward.
Yeah, I didn't realize you had that many hats because I haven't.
Never you see me wear the same fucking hat.
Yeah, I thought maybe I need to help this guy get us some hats.
It's all about the message, right? Only you can prevent wildfires.
It's a cool hat. It's a cool hat. I don't know if it's a cool hat 7 days in a row, but
I understand. Some guy at the gas station, he noticed me because of the hat, and he was like, "You're the second person today that I've seen with the Smokey the Bear hat." And I was like, "Are you pissed about that? Or are you just telling me?" And it was like the most passive aggressive way to tell me they've seen a hat before. It was weird as hell.
That is kind of weird.
But the fact that he noticed me is probably a good sign to maybe switch it up a little bit.
And behind the controls, Leo, what do you think of this? We getting a little rain this morning, brother.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was raining until I went to go open the door for Mike to come in. I'm excited for it, though. I love my rain.
People have been asking, when we kind of needed it, I guess.
Could always use rain.
I don't know. I don't know how much rain we really need here. But, yeah, it was cloudy last night, so you could kind of tell. The night before, so Wednesday night, so fucking clear, the stars.
Yeah.
It was just crazy clear. I love nights like that.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
That's why I like driving out here. Like sometimes I'll come over to Leo's like later in the day, and a lot less light pollution than where I live. So you just look right up, and it's a nice clear night. You can get
that's a thing out here.
Yeah.
Where in communities, especially more rural, they won't really have a lot of light because they don't want it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't blame
It's a thing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. This is as bad as it gets.
Yeah, just a light
in
little
Arizona.
drizzle. Yeah.
We get a cloudy day and
Well, there is that.
probably I don't think it's supposed to rain very long.
We had that one winter. It was a couple years ago. I think it was like my first winter here, and it was unusually like wet. Like we had, they called it a super bloom because of all the plants had all this water to bloom. And I remember they had like a whole street because it was like 8 to 10 feet wide of water just flowing because of all the rundown from the mountains too, from it melting. So it was crazy. I'd never seen anything like that before.
Yeah. So we got Friday's show. We got some stuff to talk about. Gonna hit you with some of the things we have on our list today. What are we starting with? Let's just get into it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. We can jump right into it.
I'm ready for it.
Yes. So looks like we have first story is the Nancy Guthrie abduction. So we kind of waited a little bit to let more evidence and more details come out about this one, but I feel like we're at a point where we've got enough to really go over it.
Yeah, we can do that. Give a rough go through. I haven't watched it. Like I've listened to a little bit of whatever each announcement was, every day. Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, some of the stuff it's like wall to wall for hours that they're doing on that.
It's like a drip feed.
And you can get all worked up into this expert's shit and this other expert's shit, and that I'm not. I've stayed away from. But a few things that I have picked up along the way. There are some things that bothered me, and I think should bother most people, and we'll get into that as we just quick rundown timeline here because think about it, it's been a full now 2 weeks
almost
full 2 weeks, and one of the things they just recently did in the last couple days I think too is raise the reward to 100,000.
Yep.
And that's something that the FBI does. You know what I would be curious to know if somebody wants to look? or if you guys want to participate and jump in the chat and you want to look it up for us, tell us. How do they determine where they're going to start and what amount of money they're going to offer? How is that determined? Because they started at 50,000, and I'm thinking that's low, and and that's from the FBI, as I understand it. And then what if I'm an individual or if I'm a part of the family that's affected and I want to add to it? Am I allowed to do that? I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't be, right?
Yeah, actually.
I don't know why you wouldn't be, but I just don't understand why it was just 50,000. It just
that's a good question.
And they didn't announce a reward right away either. There was probably, I don't know, I'd have to really look. I don't want to spread false information, but a week? There was probably a week into it before we offered even the 50.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. At least that's what it feels like.
Well, it's like they're offering 100,000 on top of whatever the family's willing to pay as well, too. That's a good question. I don't know how.
What we don't know what the family's willing to pay.
It's whatever the ransom is.
But that's not going for that. That's not generating leads. The reward is to generate leads.
Yeah.
The reward is to find this shit out and get her alive and not pay the ransom.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea there. So yeah, we don't want to count the ransom.
So it does say that FBI rewards for information on criminals are determined based on the severity of the crime, the threat of the fugitive poses to public safety, and the potential for publicity to assist in the apprehension.
So they thought it was going to be easy because of all of the publicity, and they weren't going to need to have as much money, maybe?
Possibly, yeah. They thought
that's how I'm reading that.
Yeah, absolutely. Why else would they increase it?
But the other things were like, okay, the severity and the danger, I don't know. That seems pretty high.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we got a bunch of things on that list that you would tend to lend it to be a little bit higher than 50,000, and one thing maybe not. And that is crazy. That is something that people complain about, because you have somebody that it's their mother, and she's a celebrity, and so to speak, of sorts, mm-hmm. Right? And because NBC is NBC that she's on.
I think it's the Today Show. Do they own? Is that an NBC show? I'm not too sure about that one. I don't tune in very often to that.
Yeah,
my grandma does.
But it's like that, and this is attention. I mean, occasionally stories, you never know why a story is going to grab attention or not, especially if it's somebody that's not well known.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. John Benet Ramsey, it comes to mind, from years ago. You were probably, you probably know about it because it's been talked about for decades now.
Yeah, but I wasn't like.
You were not. Yeah. I don't even know if you were born yet when it happened.
Was that
I don't
96?
remember what year it was. It was a long time ago.
Oh,
yeah. But they were, I mean, I guess the family was known in the area, but there was no celebrity connection to it, Yeah. And we have at different times had stories, that make headlines. And this happens, I don't know. That's another good question. How many people in the United States are abducted what's the average number of U.S. citizens abducted in a given year? What's the average? And that where there's a ransom request, not just that they're taken and killed. That's different. We're talking about
hostage.
Yeah, somebody's taken hostage and shit. Like what's?
I'm sure the FBI's got numbers on that. Looks like
roughly 100 cases per year.
Yeah. And then how many do we hear about?
Not 100.
Dude, sometimes we may not hear about one in a year necessarily, right?
Yeah.
But people complain, well, why does this person deserve it and this person, why don't we talk about this if it was, little brown-skinned kid or something like that? It's just like, is that what we really want? We really want to do like we want to report 100 cases. That's a focus on that. It happens. Why it happens more for one than another? And is there sometimes some type of favoritism because of who somebody is? Yeah, we know that, or people just have an interest in it. I had an interest, in it wasn't, there was nothing. It wasn't a murder or anything like that. But I'm just, Kobe Bryant's death. Yeah. I was interested in Kobe Bryant's death, and hundreds and thousands of people die every day, and I wasn't interested. It doesn't make me a bad person. It just means I didn't know who the fuck they were.
And you don't have time.
It's just not a thing where he was somebody I liked, was interested in, what his thoughts were, family. He had some difficult times in his marriage, and they worked through it, which is rare. That doesn't always happen,
Especially with athletes.
Especially that kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. But we're interested in what we're interested in.
Yeah.
It just is. But there's a lot of interest for this. The one thing that did pop up to me was because Dawn and I watched Arizona play. Who did they just lose to? Who did Arizona just lose to? Can you find that out? We watched the game, and that was after we watched the North Carolina Duke game too, which was crazy.
It was Kansas. How did I forget?
Kansas. Yeah, it was the Jayhawks. It was in Kansas.
Yeah, I don't know how I forgot that.
Yeah, and so we watched that game because there's no football. That's honestly why we watched it. But it turns out that the sheriff of the county where this happened in, and obviously Tucson, Arizona's in Tucson, he was at the game, and he took a little heat for being at the game. And at first I didn't think much of it, but after yesterday, it really came out finally that they were kind of trying to keep it under wraps, but there was some friction between the local police, the sheriff's department who's investigating this, and the FBI. And that information is not being shared between the two, which is important because I believe it was the FBI and their work that they did that was able to rebuild the video from the Ring cameras or like Dig and stuff like that. And they have those capabilities. And look, I've been somebody who has given the FBI a hard time here recently in Kash Patel, and I think they've deserved getting a hard time, honestly. But on cases like this, are you kidding me? And I heard, I don't know all the intimate details about this, but there was some type of evidence they had that they sent to an independent lab. And it just, even if it's something they do and they know, it's like, are you kidding me? You had the opportunity to send it to the FBI. And I don't know if the FBI charges for that stuff. I don't know how that works anything. But I was
going to bring up maybe that.
But it's like they've opened the book, where it doesn't matter, whatever. As I understand it, they've opened up whatever you need, whatever we can do that we can contribute. That's what we're going to do. And to not take advantage of what literally the best people and the best technology and stuff, they have it. The FBI has it. And to just send it to a third party, a lot of people are questioning that. And that's when it came out that there's this friction between the two. And I believe the sheriff has already come out too and acknowledged other mistakes that have been made, and it's just not a good look.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just not a good look.
I hope it's not an ego thing. That would be just awful. Especially for the family. Imagine just dealing with that, and then you have the people that are helping you. They're have a dick swinging contest about who's going to solve this case because of how high profile it is. like just do your job and just figure this shit out.
I don't know what the family can do about it. Maybe something privately, but you can always publicly say, this is about our mom, and if and what we care about is our mom. And what we don't care about is who gets credit for what. What we do care about is that everybody works together and put all of them on the spot and say, because the family has come out and made comments, know.
Yeah, a couple of different times, yeah.
Yeah. So why not, come out and put them on the spot? I would.
Yeah, apply the
I
pressure.
don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would.
Because if they do, then the rest of everybody else that's following the case, then they'll follow.
Well, that would be a story for a minute.
Yeah. Oh,
the family coming out and scolding them.
Oh yeah,
basically,
absolutely.
And if that's what it takes to get the job done, then that's what it takes. Ultimately, they want their mom back, obviously alive. But after that, the next thing you want is resolution.
Mm-hmm.
It's the things when it's not resolved or there's no resolution or you don't know, or you just know that they're not coming back, but you don't know what happened or how or why or, why did somebody decide to do that? Because in this case, it just seems like, well, is the reason is money? And is that it? Is it only money? And it may be. I don't know. But people want to know, especially the family. I'd understand why they'd want to know. But
if it was for money, you'd think it would have got solved a lot quicker than it has, though. That's what I'm like really curious about. Is there's a lot like I said, there's a lot of things that I can't put my finger on that just doesn't quite add up like one to one. Especially like that, like you said, the sheriff being at that game. Like I understand it's a big game. I get it.
Right.
You're right in the area, but you gotta understand the room, like read the temperature in the room.
Yeah.
Like you gotta know
it's not a good look.
Yeah. Every eye in that stadium is on you because they know what's going on. They're like, why are you here? Instead of, I don't know, maybe trying to fucking help figure out where this lady's at.
I mean, I understand he's not going to spend 24/7.
Yeah.
But you got the time you're not doing it, you got to kind of hide.
Yeah.
Like it would be no different if he went golfing. Like you're golfing, really? Like that
out
just
of all times. Yeah.
As of this time, this is because for a police department or a sheriff's department like this, is there a bigger thing going on than this?
Not in Tucson,
right? Is there a bigger thing?
Apparently, basketball. I guess so.
Yeah. No, there's nothing bigger going on here, and just I don't know. Let's see, what else did we have? FBI agents currently conducting searches. Yeah, we've done that. Go ahead.
Like I said, they did just announce that they had new surveillance footage from, I'm assuming, traffic cameras and Ring doorbells. But they did find someone that was walking about 5 miles away from her house, had the same outfit. He was holding multiple backpacks and things like that. So I'm assuming they're using the direction in which he was walking, and they're pinpointing that with the cameras. But
what would be weird about that is the timing. Was that before or after that it happened? I think that is footage from after. Right?
It's after.
And why would that person be alone if he took her hostage?
He had multiple backpacks. So he was alone then, but he probably wasn't alone, I don't know, 30 minutes before that, 20.
And then that's problem with their timeline. There's a difference in the timeline of how long it takes to get somewhere from there and that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
There is some discrepancy there between the two. The timeline that the FBI has and the timeline that the sheriff's department has.
How are you not on the same?
I don't know.
You have this
They're
access
not.
the same shit.
I just know that they're not.
That's crazy to me. These are like tenured. These aren't just like rookies that are on this. Like these are tenured FBI agents and local law enforcement. Like how the fuck do you not have simple communication figured out and simple details ironed out? That's why there's just so many questions I have. I don't want to I don't want to paint it as something that it's not, but
no, it's just there's a lot of.
There's a lot when there's something like this happens. You have a lot more clarity about specific details like this. And the fact that we're basically 2 weeks out and we're still trying to figure out day one info, that's just, maybe we should investigate them after this.
Yeah, that'll be a minute.
If ever.
If ever. About people being held accountable, for sure.
Hopefully they can find her and bring her back ASAP.
It feels like maybe I don't know why I say this, that it feels like maybe they're closer. I don't know.
I would hope they're closer. If not, what the fuck are we doing then? It's kind of a waste of time at that point.
Yeah.
Who's in charge?
Yeah. All right. Who's got second story? What are we doing next?
We can cross over into the Candace Owens situation with Erica Kirk.
All right. I know there are conservatives, and I was one who was very defensive about Erica Kirk when Charlie was first murdered. And I had questions. Other people had questions. And people asking questions were being scolded a little bit for having questions. And that's just not a thing for me. And there are people that I like and respect that aren't happy with the take of Candace Owens and what Candace Owens has talked about and how she's presented things. I got to say that I listened. And when it comes to this particular topic and the number of things that she has talked about, brought up, and brought forth that, information or things we were told by people are just not true. Like even a simple thing like the 30-06 that the bullet from that didn't go through, which pretty much anybody familiar with guns and ammunition is like, that's bullshit. Yeah. That's almost like impossible. But it was said he had a Superman neck or something like that, yeah. And Andrew Colvett was one, and that he talked to the surgeon after, and there's no way that the surgeon talked to him. Okay. Like just little things like that. Yeah. That were brought up because of HIPAA laws and different things like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It just doesn't work like that. So just little indiscrepancies, and there's always going to be discrepancies between people's memory and that kind of stuff. But in this case, there were a lot of really odd ones, and it started very, very early. Like it was very odd that you were worried about people stealing stuff because people were taking hats afterwards, and who gives a shit about the hats? But you decide to take the cards out of the camera and not just take down the fucking camera. Yeah. Like the storage card. Yeah. Yeah. And then then the school, even in the first week, like days after something that's this big, an assassination that is this big, and you're already working on that area and destroying where it happened within days of it. That just,
I'm sure there wasn't any useful evidence at all.
Doesn't make any sense, And so I'm on the side of Candace Owens asking questions. I'm sorry that offends some people. I just am. I'm just not happy with how things have done. I think there's a lot of greed. It has nothing to do with, look, I supported Charlie. I made an effort. Okay. I made an effort and made it happen that we went to Charlie Kirk's memorial here. I was in that stadium with that 90,000 people that made it inside. And there were more than that, and outside, and the overflow and everything. It was important enough for me to take a day of my life and do that, because I had that strong of a feeling about it, which was crazy to me. Again, to have a kind of feeling about someone that you don't know personally, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why I brought up kind of Kobe a little bit
the
too.
impact they have on people's lives, indirectly a lot of times.
But in this case, it was pretty significant, you know? And so I was very protective of Erica, but the more and more of stuff that comes out and why do I believe it's true? Well, like yesterday's show, Candace Owens, her show yesterday, she talks about this girl who's a 15-year-old girl that Erica had met. Like, I didn't know this happened. Erica was dating a guy that played for the Detroit Pistons when she was 25 years old.
I was unaware of that.
Yeah, she was she was Miss Arizona.
Oh, I didn't
when
know
she
that.
was 25.
Did not know that either.
Yeah, she was Miss Arizona.
Do we know the Pistons player by chance?
Yeah, it wasn't somebody I knew.
No, okay.
But you can find out. It was, she said what the name was in the show. And the girl, they were renting, or her family was renting from somebody, and that's like a home. That's how they were introduced. And they're introduced, and for whatever reason, they don't remember why, or the girl doesn't remember why, the 15-year-old girl, that they exchanged numbers. And from then on, they didn't ever see each other face to face and hang out, but they had an online relationship. Okay. Mm-hmm. And text messages. And so there are the text messages and the messages that they did online. They have those. And Candace Owens showed them.
Pulled the receipts.
And she basically set it up, but okay, let me run this by you, see how you feel about it. And you do feel like it's really weird for an adult, male or female, whether it was a male doing it with a boy or, you know, a woman doing it with a girl, because Erica's 25 at this point, you know, and the girl's 15. And they strike up this conversation that there's some odd things that she just says that it would be not so odd if it was another 15-year-old girl that said it to her. Yeah. But an adult saying it. Yeah. It was like, it made you feel like, ooh, the boundaries like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was that kind of stuff. And people can listen for themselves. I'm just telling you to listen for yourself. However you feel about Candace, just look at the actual stuff, block Candace out, and just look at the actual stuff that's being presented. And, well, what does it have to do with anything? What does it have to do with Charlie's death? You know, it has to do with somebody's moral integrity and whether they're lying or not. Or
his legacy as well.
Yeah. And that it just, and there's this one. How about this? So I believe it was that people pointed this out. I tell you, the internet, I say this all the time to Leo, that the internet is a motherfucker, man.
Oh, yeah.
The internet sleuths, they are a motherfucker, man. So they saw that there was this picture in Charlie's office that sat behind him on a shelf. Okay. And I believe Charlie had just gotten back from Japan or something like that. Some place overseas. Yeah. I don't remember off the top of my head, but Asian. Okay. He just come back and he couldn't really sleep. So he gets on and does some live segment or something. And there's this picture behind him that's always been there, right? Of him and Erica. And then Erica talks about after his death, how, you know, she hasn't been in that room. And she does an interview with somebody. I don't know if it was Glenn Beck or somebody like that. It could have been. And that she, that this is the first time that she had been in the room. And so she's looking at the desk and she's saying this stuff. Look at that. She hadn't been there. that picture was gone, man.
Really?
Yep. So the question became, who moved it?
And why?
Did Charlie move it? I mean, there's only so many people that could move it, right? It wasn't one of the little kids.
And you wouldn't imagine Charlie doing. Why would he move it?
Why would he move it?
He put it there. At least not if he'd moved it, it would still be within view. I know that 100%.
Yeah.
So that is, man.
So then she moved it. It's why would she move it?
I hope this doesn't turn into like something just so sad. Like after like everything he worked for and like built, and then it just comes tumbling down.
Here's how I get that. Here's what I think about that. The impact that Charlie made, he already made. That somebody's going to do it differently.
Yeah.
But somebody is going to be inspired to have a bigger view and a bigger goal and really want to be an instrument of change and positivity and just want to do something big. And that's already been done. That seed has been planted, that seed has been watered. And to me, God's got that. Just replacing Charlie as he is, not going to happen.
Never, yeah.
Not going to, just like when Rush Limbaugh died, there wasn't going to, people have tried to fill those shoes. Nobody has filled those shoes. Sean Hannity was, maybe the next kind of in line because he was in the top ones, not Sean Hannity. And lately, I don't know if you've seen Sean Hannity. Dude is aging a lot quickly lately.
I haven't seen him in a while, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Glenn Beck, who's the next Rush Limbaugh? There isn't.
And if you can spend eternity chasing that too, and you'll never find it.
I mean, I was inspired by Rush, which, is where my love for the radio came from.
Oh, yeah.
I loved what he did and what he stood for and how open he was about his life and views. And I've always tried to do that, to be as authentic as possible, even if it didn't represent me in a good way, because I have faults. I do. Yeah, and I can acknowledge them. Well, there was a time when I couldn't acknowledge it. You know what I mean? Like alcoholics aren't very good at taking ownership of things,
Yeah.
But it's a different thing now to be able to do that. But a lot of people, I think, are going to have a lot of apologies to make at different points as we continue to go on to Candace Owens. Now, stuff about Israel with Israel, and were they involved in this? I don't know.
That's so hard to pinpoint. Like, it's so incredibly difficult.
You can go so far, but I can say that things she's pointed out and the verification of different things is, some of those things are provable and have been proved. There's a way to track planes by their numbers and where they're at and where they're sitting and is the plane turned on.
Yep.
There is ways to do all that fucking shit, dude.
They log all of it.
Yeah, and there's people that know how to access that, and that's their little specialty. And so putting all those little pieces together.
A lot of that, those airplane paths. There's that website. I believe it's like a public website where anybody can access it. I don't know if it tracks every single plane, but it feels like it's basically every plane.
Yeah, a lot.
Does that include would that include international, like planes from another country as well?
That's where the Egyptian planes come from.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, like you said,
and there's history about things that that a lot of us. Me, and I'm interested in these kinds of things that I just didn't know. And that we're new and learning about, that understanding the back history of how you get here, yeah.
So the one thing I guess hindsight's 2020. The one thing I really wish they would have done instead of just automatically putting Erica as like the new face of TPUSA, I wish they kind of went through their own, I guess, interview process of finding somebody that actually can hold up what Charlie was, what he stood for, and had the following as well, to where we're not in this situation where you have all this shady shit going on. I know it would never be Charlie, but somebody to take over that mantle, because even if there's nothing coming out about Erica, having her do that after everything that happened, I feel like is a tall task for anybody. Now, all this shit that she's doing that's coming out that she's potentially doing afterwards is a different story. But I think it was just a lot on anybody to just take that over right after their husband was just shot and killed right in front of them and their children. And it's on the internet forever. Like, somebody has to be able to not have that side, but still be able to take on what he wanted to push forward, I guess. Not have that baggage.
Isn't that why you have vice chairman?
Yeah.
Or, vice presidents or whatever, I mean, I don't know who was under the CEO position, but can't they handle the responsibility on a temporary basis?
You would think so.
And apply for the job, because it's the board that's going to ultimately determine that, and then, make a decision. But there should be that kind of stuff already in place to be able to done. And it seemed it was rushed really fast. And there's a lot about raising money. There is a lot about that where Israel comes in about not Charlie not being pro-Israel, but really changing his position on some things about like a number of people have that were understood and supported Israel after October 7th and that terrible massacre, but saying that, okay, it's been 2 years now. It's been 2 years. At some point, let's find a different path. Like, this has been a long time, and a lot of people have been killed and a lot of civilians. And look, I'm somebody that says that happens in war, and people should expect it. It's hard to win wars the way that we try to wage them now without civilian deaths.
Yeah.
That just was never used to be a thing in war,
Yep.
So that he was changing, possibly even changing, and it seems to be true that, and I've had friends that this has happened with that believed in God and eventually in a point, decided to become Catholic. People make different decisions about their faith over the years, and that, Charlie seemed to have a lot of interest in Catholicism, and, the stories match in that, Erica Kirk was, going to mass too with him. So it's not like that stuff's just a bunch of made up stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
there's proof to back it up.
Yeah, there's like actual proof to back it up. Yeah, there is. So she's going to continue to take fire, but I don't think she's crazy. I don't think she's dumb, and I don't think she would put herself out there to be this big of a target if she wasn't really, really sure.
She's like
about what she's saying.
I said she's kind of like the female Alex Jones in a way. Like a lot of the way people try to paint her in terms of the things that she tries to bring to light.
It's so funny you mentioned Alex Jones. He was on the PBD podcast yesterday.
And
it was pretty interesting.
What was he going over?
Oh, just Patrick was just going over just various different, current topics, but also his own situation, and what happened with that lawsuit and stuff like that. And I don't know if it's right for this man's whole world to have been destroyed, but it pretty much has.
They wanted to make,
and he's still going. Yeah, he's still going.
Oh yeah, he'll never. Yeah, InfoWars will never stop. Ever.
Yeah, and everything is not that he's reported is not like wrong or conspiracy. You know what I mean? Like,
I know
the dude had some right shit in there. And
a lot of right
to act
stuff.
like everything was just wrong is just, because of this one thing, we can't believe him on anything. That's just not the case.
The thing is, they try to say he's wrong about certain things, and a lot of times he's not necessarily wrong. It's just the way that they try to frame it to make him look wrong.
Yeah.
And he, like I said, in previous shows, he does it to himself because he's so like energetic in the way he presents things that from somebody that has no idea about this dude outside of what somebody else has told him, they could easily see how he could be, this crazy nut job conspiracy theorist. But if you like just sit down and listen, and then you actually try to line up what he said towards what's actually happened, you'll find that more often than not, he's been right to at least the tiniest degree. I know. And that's why I feel like a lot of people look at her the same way, because just like her, Alex Jones doesn't bring himself into a light if he's doesn't have anything to back it up. He's always got evidence from somebody. It's not like he's just showing up here and, this is happening, this is this, without anything. No, he's bringing the receipts.
Yeah.
But we do have the Candace stuff pulled up if we want to roll up with that evidence, or
I don't know, where are you at on this?
This is a 12-minute video about Eric or Candace talking about Erica and the 15-year-old grooming situation.
Yeah, let's do that, man. Let's do that. I want you to hear this and tell me what you guys think.
Yeah. No, I'm down.
All right. Maybe I'll stop it, maybe not, but we'll fly with it.
Sorry, hold on. Just one extra second here.
Working on the audio, people. Give us a second.
Today, obviously, like I said, is our last episode before we take a week off air, pulling things together for our Erica Kirk biographical series. Working title, Fatal Attraction. I'm kidding. Maybe I'm kidding. We don't know. Speaking of a fatal attraction, something that has been doing the rounds on social media, thanks to, first and foremost, a YouTuber by the name of Nicey. So full credit to Nicey. And then, of course, Baron Coleman picked it up. I love it. We're all just pooling information. And here we are, is regarding this relationship that Erica had over, it looks like social media. A lot of it played out over social media. And I'm just going to actually cut to Nicey here, who's going to unpack it for you. And to give you a little bit of background, it's 2013, and therefore Erica has just completed her year as Miss Arizona. And she's 25 years old at the time, Erica is. And now you're going to learn how she met Jillian. Take a listen.
Back in 2013, Erica was 25 years old, and she was in a relationship with a basketball player named Joshua Harrelson. So at the time, he was living in Michigan, and Erica moved out there to be with him. On the evening of September 15, 2013, Joshua Harrelson and Erica met a 15-year-old girl named Jillian Falcon. And I know this because Jillian tweeted about it. At 3:53 p.m., Jillian tweeted that she was out for sushi with her friend, and 2 hours later she tweeted, "Just met Miss Arizona and Josh Harrelson, heart eyes emoji." Now, I'm not sure if Jillian coincidentally bumped into Erica and Joshua or if they were introduced. What I do know is that Jillian had a friend, and the friend's grandparents were renting a home to Erica in Michigan. So I'm not entirely sure if all of these people just bumped into each other coincidentally at the sushi restaurant or if they were formally introduced, but nonetheless, they met, and Erica struck up what I view as a very odd relationship with the 15-year-old girl named Jillian.
So I can help clarify. I can build on that. Like I said, I spoke with Jillian, and that information, part of that information is very accurate. It was about payment for rent, and that is how Jillian meets Erica Kirk. She opens the door. She's presumably living with or visiting her boyfriend at the time, and she sees Erica Kirk, and she thinks, oh my gosh, this girl 25-year-old girl is so beautiful, and Erica is extremely kind to her, and they start speaking. And somehow, and Jillian does not recall how this transpired, somehow during this rent arrangement, Erica and her exchange numbers. Okay. So what happens next is they begin messaging each other, a texting relationship, and across social media, making comments on one another's posts. And in the beginning, it seems fine enough, I guess. The conversation is polite, maybe something that you might expect to see between someone who has some level of notoriety or fame and one of their fans over social media. But then it picks up, just as Nicey indicates. It picks up, and I am going to allow you to listen to her explain what then transpires. And I would also, again, like to reinforce the fact that this girl, Jillian, is 15 years old and Erica is 25. It's worth mentioning that at this point in her biography, Erica is also working with sex trafficking charities. This is that year where she says that she got involved with a sex trafficking charity over in China. I'll have more for you on that next week, but take it away, Nicey.
On February 13th, 2014, Jillian replied to one of Erica's tweets by saying, "At Erica Francevy, gorgeous as always." A few hours later, she then tweeted, "Why did at Erica Francevy just send me this?" Laughing emojis, and there is a photo which says, "This Valentine's Day, I am going to touch your butt." Jillian posted this tweet on March 6, 2014. So Erica says, "Let me call you, hold on sweetheart, give me a sex. Wow." And then Jillian says, "Okay," and puts laughing emojis. Erica then says, "Sex too, but not from you, LOL. Holy laughing emoji. You always make me laugh. I don't bat for the other team just yet." On March 13th, 2014, Jillian shared another screenshot of her text messages with Erica. Erica says, "I forgot to tell you, hydrate tonight. No alcohol, and don't eat a lot of salty foods. You don't want to look bloated." Jillian then responds, "Thank you." Erica says, "No alcohol. Really, Erica? Age recognition, you twat waffle. Apparently, I haven't had my coffee yet." What the hell, Erica? Laughing emoji. Well, on that bite, ... Note, damn you, Siri. Come on, hashtag the struggle. What are you trying to say, laughing emoji? Spit it out, you twat waffle. On the morning of March 26, 2014, Jillian tweeted, "I just want to be somebody's woman crush Wednesday. Is that too much to ask?" That evening, she then tweets, "Thank you at Erica Francevy for making my whole week." And she shares this photo, and the photo is of a gnome, and it says, "I want to be inside your lady garden." Gnome saying, on April 3rd, 2014, Jillian tweeted this picture and said, "I miss this goon." A few minutes later, she tweeted, "Did Erica just text me hashtag no new friends? Oh my fucking god, I can't." A few days later, on April 5th, 2014, Jillian posted this tweet, "Getting this in the mail from Erica Francevy." And in the photo is a red box of chocolate-covered strawberries and other chocolate desserts. And the card in the photo says this, "Happy sweet 16, beautiful girl. Keep strong in faith and know that you're loved. But most of all, never forget that you are perfect and amazing just the way you are. I am so proud of you. Today is the first day of another 365-day journey around the sun. Enjoy the trip, boo. Love you, E." On June 7, 2014, Jillian shared this tweet, "This has to be the most heartfelt compliment I've ever gotten." And she attached a screenshot of her conversation with Erica. So Jillian says, "Thank you." Erica says, "You have the most stunning features." Jillian says, "Best compliment ever." Erica says, "Your eyes, your lips, your skin, you're absolutely beautiful." Jillian responds with the crying emoji, "You're making me cry." In February of 2014, Jillian went on a family trip to Puerto Rico, and Erica was liking and commenting on her Instagram posts. So Jillian posted this photo of the beach, and Erica says, "Unreal gorgeous." And then Jillian responds, "This is by far my favorite picture I took. My mom wants to get it blown up at Erica Francevy." Erica responds, "I could see why, boo." Jillian responds, "So perfect at Erica Francevy." Erica then responds, ... Yes, I know you are."
I'm just going to follow that with a little bit of silence. I just want us to.
Yeah, we can
all
stop it there for a
contemplate.
second.
I was gonna say that was my reaction as well. Just to sit with that for a second, because what the fuck are you doing? That is fucking weird.
It's not normal, right?
Definitely not normal. That's weird
Not
as
normal.
shit. especially if you've never really had an in-person relationship. This is all strictly online, and you're saying all this, like,
and you're 10 years older than
in
that
10
person.
years, like there's
And not 10 years, 25 to 35. 10 years adult versus a kid.
yeah, minor. Like, what the hell? And it's crazy because a lot of people, I'm actually kind of glad they're bringing this to light, because obviously the most common thing is like a man being predatory towards a young girl. But bringing light to this, it just shows like evil can be, I'm not saying she is, but evil can be wherever. It takes on many different forms. And I'm going to be honest, when you start playing with little kids like that, you're bordering on that line of evil in my book, because your intentions are much different than what that minor has in their head. 100%.
This looks beyond bordering, though.
Oh yeah.
This looks like actual grooming type things, you would say.
100%. Are they still
Right?
in contact today? Do we know? I mean, I guess
No.
before all this came out. Okay.
No.
She probably, once she got in that light with Charlie, she probably tried to
Oh, she just, yeah.
cut that off.
Well, I don't know about that, but go ahead. Let's finish it up.
Let's actually contemplate it for the people who are going to try to explain it, the Erica splainers, who are going to be like, that's not weird. No. What? Never been a 25-year-old sending chocolate-covered strawberries to a 15-year-old? That's not weird. You guys are haters. No, what? Oh, come on. You've never, as a 25-year-old, decided to message a 15-year-old about their lips and their skin and how perfect they are. You never decided to message them when they posted a photo of them with a person that's their age and said, no new friends. Almost like territorial, like, or that's obviously all just a joke or something like that. By the way, just in general, going back to how they met, I'm trying to rationalize in my head, under what scenario, if a 15-year-old, if you opened the door and a 15-year-old was there, would you exchange numbers with them? Like, I'm trying to rationalize it. Maybe if they were with their parent and they were like, the parents were like, he was looking for a job. Like, I don't know if you need like a babysitter. You guys want to go to dinner for a couple of hours, sort of a thing, maybe. But I'd probably take the parents' number. Yeah, I would definitely take the parents' number. I actually can't rationalize that. So I'm throwing that out because sometimes people in the chat can be more creative than me. And they can say, oh, no, it's totally adorable to exchange numbers with the 15-year-olds and then kind of have this relationship with them where you're commenting and saying, making lesbian jokes. I don't, swing for the next team yet. Is that appropriate to say to a 15-year-old when you're 25? Come on, where are my Erica splainers in the chat? I want to hear it. It's a time to be alive. Everyone's explaining Jeffrey Epstein and all of his friends. Go ahead, go for it. I think it's fine. Go ahead. I want to hear it. There's so much that disturbs me about that. But again, when I first was going, everything is wrong here. That's my natural intuition. I didn't want to then extrapolate and jump to conclusions until I spoke with Jillian. On the off chance that maybe it is my personal senses, having learned everything about Erica's background, maybe my personal senses about Erica might be clouding my judgment. Maybe there was a perfectly reasonable explanation for that sort of relationship. Maybe she really is just such an amazing person by the time she's 25 years old. Such a strong and faithful Christian that she wants a 15-year-old to feel sexy or something. I also want to note that this particular 15-year-old at this time, what we know based off of Jillian's tweets, is that she doesn't have a father in her life, okay? She tweeted this in June of 2014. I haven't seen my dad over 2 years, okay? The reason why I want to point that out is because Charlie Kirk and I did a lot on the road discussing father absence and how these teenagers and children are instantly more vulnerable to tons of things, getting involved in the wrong networks, criminal activity. You need a father in the home. So I just find it interesting that it's a good fact to know about this girl at this time. Maybe her father's in her life since. I don't know. I didn't ask her. But I told you I called her. I instantly reached out because sometimes I just can't follow instructions the right way. And I asked her about how she felt about it 10 years removed from a situation. And she responded exactly how you might expect. She said at the time, as a 15-year-old, she was blown away by this amazingly beautiful, older, semi-famous person that was giving her all of this attention. And for clarity, I am completely empathetic to that position and experience as a younger girl, obviously. I correlated to how I felt. I think I've told you guys in the past about Christina Aguilera when she first dropped. And then I was obsessed with her when I was 13, 14 years old. My mom put me on punishment because I was so obsessed with Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera, at that point in my life, maybe if my mom had not punished me for idolatry, but at that point in my life, I'm racing home to watch TRL because I got to make sure she's number one. If Christina Aguilera had then given me tons of attention, I'd be like, oh, I can't even believe this. Christina Aguilera is giving me attention. She probably could have manipulated me into a lot of things because my brain would not have been developed. This is normal tween to early teen emotions and passion. And it's precisely, if you track my work, what has always been my biggest gripe with Taylor Swift, even though I like her music, it's because I find that she harnesses the power of that tween emotion to get business deals done. Yet she's 36. Anyway, I digress. That's the point of that. We know that they're reactive, they're emotional, and her fans will kill somebody if they have to, right? But hindsight is 20/20, as we always say. And Jillian today is now 27 years old, and she fully appreciates how absolutely weird this was and how absolutely weird it is. And she's going back and she is wondering, what exactly was this all about? What exactly was Erica harnessing her teenage emotion for? Why is she continually telling her that she's beautiful, that she has perfect lips? Why is this 25-year-old who's not even from Michigan interested in this dialogue with her? And something she points out is, I was with my friend when I met her, but she never had this relationship with Cheyenne. Cheyenne is mentioned elsewhere in that video. Why was it particularly Jillian that she was interested in? And curiously, get this, she tells me that she and Erica actually never hung out in person beyond that first meeting. So this was purely meant to be a platonic relationship where Erica said stuff even like this to her on Instagram. Jillian, that dime piece beside the car, though, she's referring to Jillian, just so we're clear, she's referring to Jillian beside a car as a dime piece. Again, if this was two 15-year-olds speaking to each other, I'd be like, that's totally fine. I actually tend to agree with Nice's assessment elsewhere in the video. Just put in your mind, this is a 25-year-old man referring to a 15-year-old girl. What would happen? What would you be thinking? And again, Erica did not actually hang out with her beyond that. So what exactly was her stated goal? Well, I can at least tell you what that last weird text exchange was about, the one where Erica tells her not to drink and to suck her stomach in tonight, wherever they're going tonight. People assumed that they had gone somewhere together, but no, that exchange is actually in reference to Erica then having sent this 15-year-old to have photos taken. Insane. She sent this 15-year-old to have photos taken. She's helping her because she's just so beautiful, get into maybe some modeling. That's at least how she presented it to her. So after telling her how beautiful and perfect her lips were, she then sets her up with a photographer, a friend of Erica's. Erica, she says, arranged the entire thing. This person she had only met once, then after what maybe love bombing her, we describe it, then sends her to meet up with this male photographer. And Jillian said that this photographer was kind of creepy. She's trying to remember his name. She says she remembers it began with an R, and he was kind of shorter, chubbier. And yeah, I'd say, yeah, Jillian, that's pretty creepy. Any photographer who is taking photos of a 15-year-old without their parents' consent is a creep.
Without mom being there.
I am
for the photo shoot, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize.
You know what I mean?
I didn't realize that was what the context was this photographer. He didn't ask questions. What the fuck? Like, where's your parents? That'd be the first thing I'd ask.
Well, just to protect yourself.
Yeah.
As a male, you'd want to say, like, you'd want somebody there. You'd want your staff there, or really somebody that, you know, represents the other person, you know, because anybody can say anything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So just to be smart, to just protect yourself. Yeah. Crazy.
That's so weird.
The whole thing is fucked up, dude. But I mean, listening to that, and I think we're good now on that, but just listening to that and what Candace said, and I don't know what your feelings were about Candace prior to this and where you stood on her, but just listening to that segment, I mean, what's crazy about Candace asking the question she's asking and wanting answers? You understand what I mean? Like,
it's not crazy at all to me. I think those are very valid questions to ask, because if she doesn't ask those questions, then who's going to?
Nobody. You're not allowed to. You're not supposed to.
Exactly. And props to them finding all that evidence 618 weeks ago. You know how much fucking time that probably took to find all that?
And what did I say?
The internet sleuths are...
The internet is a motherfucker.
Those internet detectives they should get degrees, man. It's something. They're legit.
It's something. So just listen and decide for yourself. But I think the days of just standing up for Erica, like I started out doing, that needs to be over. That needs to be over. I'm not saying she's guilty of anything, maybe of being a little stupid. I don't know, but I can say this, and I tell Dawn this all the time, that one of the gifts that I have is that I don't always know the right answer, but I know when I'm hearing the wrong answer. Yeah. And when I'm hearing the wrong answer, I keep digging.
Yep.
And usually at some point I find out and I get the right answer. And that's how I feel about this right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the right answer is, but I know that this shit ain't it. This is not the right answer. This is not the truth.
Do you think this goes away, or do you think
this is not going away? Not now. I mean, Candace just escalated this next level.
That's what I feel like as well.
Yeah. In daring them. You know, she gave them an opportunity, though, you know, with the meeting and stuff to kind of answer some questions and things. And
sometimes silence is worse. Way worse.
It is in this case, I think. That's just my point of view. So
I had never heard the phrase Erica splainers. Is that what she was calling them?
Yeah.
I had never heard that before. That's actually kind of funny. Erica splainers, huh?
Yep. All right. What do we got next?
Well, we do have our second story. Well, I guess our third story of the day that we'll go over.
All right.
This one, you're big into health and fitness and everything like that, and it has a lot to do with a lot of the problems from a food standpoint that we're dealing with today as a country. But yeah, a new study was done showing that baby foods are ultra processed and full of additives, but they go in a little bit more detail as to how and why.
All right. So over 70% of baby foods, drinks, snacks contain additives linked to health risks. Nearly 60% of the 651 products tested were classified as ultra-processed foods, including puffs, crackers, sweetened yogurts, and 71% of products, the primary ingredient was an additive rather than a fruit or a vegetable. Infants' digestive systems are not fully developed to process these additives, which are linked to inflammation and microbiome disruption. High UPF intake is associated with significantly higher risk of cardiovascular death, obesity, 55%, and type 2 diabetes, 40%. Companies can bypass FDA safety reviews by self-declaring chemicals generally recognized as safe, and industry groups argue there is no agreed upon definition of ultra-processed.
That last one is what is the kicker for me.
Well, they could define it. They don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. They don't want
Honestly, they don't want to.
That loses them money. Lots of money.
And I'm sure people have gotten, millions of dollars in contributions for their campaigns, so they don't come up with the definition.
Yeah.
But should we be surprised that the food industry, big food, right? That big food is, starting people off at an early age?
Poisonous.
And that's why it's known if a woman can, the best thing any woman can do for their baby is to breastfeed that baby for a year. Mm-hmm. The best thing they can possibly do for them. That's how God made us to be. I understand that some people aren't able to do that, and I get that. But if you can, it definitely is something worth noting. And this doesn't surprise me, at all. In parents abdicate their responsibility in being parents a lot, and where they every little kid you see now, every little kid, you go to a restaurant and every little kid has some type of pad in front of them.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Something. Let's keep the kid entertained so the adults can just run their mouth at the end of the table and just ignore the kids altogether.
Yeah, they just completely absolve themselves.
Or you've seen them even with a pad. You've even seen them with headphones on. Mm-hmm. How good is it for young kids to have headphones on as much as sometimes that you do? Mm-hmm. That's probably not a good thing.
Well, yeah, especially they're developing. Like every part of the body is developing and growing. So you stunt that in any way, who knows what that leads to?
Yeah. Well, and we know where this leads. This leads to, that same number, maybe a little bit higher than 50%, that in the range of 60% or so of adult Americans are overweight or obese.
Yeah. And the health problems that ensue.
And it started right from the very beginning. What you had your body become accustomed to.
And I have this conversation with a lot of people about what's in our food, because one thing I've noticed is that we all to some degree have some stomach issue. Maybe not all, but a large amount of people.
Sure.
And it all gets traced back to this. And it's just crazy to me that we're okay with this. Like, we've been letting this go for years. I haven't really kept in too much on if RFK has gotten a lot of this. I know red dye 40 and blue dye 40 has been taken out.
He's trying, but even in doing those, it was like, it's not even in effect yet. It was going to be like a year and a half before it took effect and shit like that.
Yeah.
Which to me just was like, really, why? Set a deadline. These same companies oftentimes are doing the things that we're trying to get them to do for us. They're already doing them for other foreign countries, because those foreign countries don't allow this kind of bullshit in the fucking food.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody that goes overseas and comes back and tells me, they're like, oh, I ate so much and I actually lost weight. And I'm like, how the fuck is that possible? Because here, the biggest thing is trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
And it's just, I link it straight to the shit that we put in our body that's on the shelves. It just makes losing weight 1,000 times harder. Mm-hmm. Curing any sort of illness that you have because of that 1,000 times harder. It's all because of the financial benefit of probably in reality, maybe like a handful of people that are truly benefiting from this. And fuck that. Honestly, fuck that. I don't think that an entire country of people should suffer because of their benefit.
And you weren't around when Leo and I did this, but it wasn't that long ago. Leo will probably remember too, where we went through, and I even learned some stuff that about that. Who bought Big Food?
Who?
Big Tobacco.
Wow. So they just took on a different persona.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't surprise me. That's new
The
info.
tobacco companies bought all the food companies.
So like General Mills and shit?
Uh-huh. Go back and look and see who owns them.
That's fucking crazy.
Do a search on that. We did. We searched. We did it while we were talking. We were learning about that stuff, weren't we, Leo? Yeah. We're like, fuck, man. This is nuts.
I think the part that kills me the most is that they say the industry groups argue there is no agreed upon definition of ultra processed. Literally, that's saying that within the people of that industry are telling us, oh, there's no real definition of it. But they're not fucking asking anybody outside of their group. But they want us to fucking take their word as law.
And it's not like they don't hire scientists too.
Yeah.
And they do.
And they just tell them to say whatever, or they probably fix the test that they're trying to run. Like, I don't like our food situation in this country. That's why I was a big fan of RFK and a lot of things that he wanted to do. I know it's gonna take a fuck ton of time just because of sheer volume. But a step in the right direction is good enough for me at this specific moment, because I'm hoping one day my kids can just eat, chicken that's free of all this extra steroids and growth hormones and shit like that, or eat a bowl of cereal without having to eat fucking red dye 40.
Right.
That's what I hope for one day, because I mean it's food. We have to. It's every single day. We eat it 3 times a day at least.
Yeah, and it is for coloring purposes, so it looks good.
Yeah,
There's no health benefit to these additives. It's not a health benefit that it maybe extends its shelf life. That doesn't make it better or healthier.
Prettier.
And what they use in other countries is they use juices, various juices of different colors for the and it's so then the item, the ultra processed food, is more faded in color than being bright.
You can see
like
it.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever seen them compare, some type of like fruity cereal that's very colorful between Canada and the U.S. and the difference, I mean, you see it immediately.
Well, they have them in those displays at grocery stores where they'll have the salmon out there, and then there's that card saying this, warning you, food coloring was used to make it look better. And they're telling you right then and there, and you're just like, oh, fuck it. And you grab it.
Yeah, for sure.
Just ass backwards, in my opinion.
It absolutely is. And I'm on Team Maha, and will continue to be. So Make America healthy again. Stop fucking with our kids.
Yeah, I'm with that.
And I think that's a good strategy too for people that want to see our food system get to be better, is to focus on the damage that they're doing to our kids first, because most people can agree, adults can make decisions. Kids are having these decisions made for them.
Yeah.
And in some cases, the decision is being made by a parent who doesn't know any better. I mean, as sad as that is, that people don't, you think everybody should know, they honestly, they really don't. And because if they did, we wouldn't have the society looking the way that it does.
Exactly.
They wouldn't.
Well, yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Like, most adults would probably say, yeah, I might have been doing this for my entire life, but knowing what I know now, I don't want my kids doing it.
Yeah.
I would hope
of
so.
Course.
At least.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what we got on that. I figured it was an interesting topic for a lot of reasons, but you being into health and fitness as well, and speaking to doctors, actually, next time you should, if you remember, bring it up to your doctor and ask him what his opinion is on that and what he's seen.
Oh, him and I talk about this kind of stuff all the time. Yeah.
Like all the foods and like all the bullshit that's added extra into it. Yeah,
because he's actually a doctor that cares about health and nutrition. And so we talk about that all, because he knows what I do and what my interest is. So, and we have non-regular type appointments because of the type of practice that he has, I mean, they literally schedule a half an hour for you.
Yeah.
So, and we're usually in there for that half hour too. Yeah. So, all right, next segment.
Yes, sir. So we do have a would you rather segment here, and it's just a couple quick questions.
I like these.
Leo, would you like to lead this one, or you want me to keep moving forward with it? All right. So first question we have here is, would you rather have more time or more money?
Let me ask you this. Let me flip the table on this one real quick.
Sure.
Which one do you think I would rather have?
Time.
Yeah, time. And why do you think time?
It's more important than money. You can make money. Yeah, you can read.
Yeah, see, to me, the money thing is easy. If I have more time, I will make more money. It's not an either or, even though it's presented that way. Would you rather? But if I had more time, I'd make more money.
I'm the same way.
And the pressure that I've talked about, feeling at 57 years old and having, friends, that are within 10 years of my age, younger than me, that have been healthy and that have passed, and be like, fuck, man, because my head is literally 95. That's literally, I don't know why that's been stuck in my head for a long time. But when I talk about different things, I'll tell people, I'm going to be doing such and such till I'm 95 and dead in the grave. I will be, I don't know how much I'll be lifting. Okay, if I can, I don't know if I'll be able to lift 135 pounds then, but I'll be, I'll be lifting something when I'm 95, dude. That's my goal. I'm that committed to the lifestyle.
One thing I've noticed, and especially with when I would live with my grandparents back in the day, is my grandfather does not stop moving, like ever. And you would think, based on his background, the things that he's done, and like in terms of the job he's had to work, he served in the army for a couple tours. He has more reason than most to kind of just kick his feet up and relax. And I had a conversation with him one day, and without getting too deep into it, essentially he's like, I'm afraid that if I stop moving, that's when I'm gonna go.
I feel like that.
And that's what that stuck with me. I mean, that conversation happened when I was like 15, 16 years old.
Yeah. And
that sticks with me to this day.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. Yeah, and the other thing is, I want to see, I'm so amazed about the changes that have happened in the technology that's happened from 1900 to 2025, so 125 years. Mm-hmm. And it's so mind-boggling about how fast we've progressed and things have changed in transportation and, just every area of life. And that for, really even, hundreds and even thousands of years, if you go back to, if you go back to Christ's time and, and then we start AD after death, right?
Yeah.
Is there that much difference at, 0 AD and 500 AD? Probably not really.
That I can think of.
Right?
Yeah.
Not much, right? Not really. But the differences have greater leaps and bounds in the last 125 years than any other time in the history of man.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it just keeps getting faster. And what is going to be possible, at me being 57, if I can hang on for another 38 years, and what will it be like 38 years from now? I want to see what that's like, man.
That's how I feel.
Not that I don't want to be with God and not have to deal with this shit and all these motherfuckers on earth and just be done with the whole bullshit and just be up there and celebrating God and singing songs or whatever the fuck we do up there, okay? It's all good. But I'll be doing that for eternity. I only get a small amount of time here, and I want as much of that small amount of time as possible.
I'm with you.
That's so
100% with you.
Time, man. Time is where it's at.
You'd be surprised how many people would pick money, though.
You know what? The people that pick money,
they're young.
But they're also people that don't know how to make money.
True.
So since they don't know how to make it, they want it given to them.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I didn't even think about it that way.
Of course, that's exactly why it is.
Yeah, because you've built yourself, a nice life with these businesses.
Twice.
And so somebody that is not somebody that knows that they've done it on multiple occasions is not worried about, how can I do it again? Time, obviously, that perspective makes way more sense. 100%.
100%. All right, what's the next one?
So we have the next question would be: would you rather live in a world with no rules at all, or a world with harsh traditional rules? Essentially, I guess we'll say over enforced to a degree.
Well, I think the living in a world with no rules obviously would be much harder.
I agree.
Because then you're like the wild, wild west. But back then, at least you had a higher percentage of people that believed in God.
Yeah.
So that was their guiding force and stopped them from doing dumb shit, right? Mm-hmm. But the people that don't have God and that really need set harsh traditional rules that obviously would come from government, they need that, because the only way we can control them to a degree, and they might not be controllable at all, but there would be, anarchy with no rules at all. Now, could I live in that kind of time and take care of my shit and protect and fuck yeah, I could. I'd be armed. I'd be looking tactical every fucking day.
You'd have no choice, probably.
You know what I mean? I could do that, but here's the thing. I've always thrived when I was in school. I thrived with teachers that were strict. And you would think that I was the type of kid that would be the exact opposite of. Mm-hmm. But I just always wanted to know what the rules were, and that the rules were the same for everybody, and that certain people didn't get special treatment.
Yeah.
And the best teachers that I had were like that, were the strictest, toughest teachers, and I learned the most from them. I fucked around the least in their class. You know, I was a model student for those teachers. You know, I'm sure there were other teachers who were like, oh, that Troy Neff, you know, but then there's this teacher who's like, I don't have any problem with that kid. It's good by me. But that was the difference. And the difference wasn't in me. The difference was in the teacher and what the teacher allowed. You know, if they allowed me to run over them, I was going to run over you.
Yeah.
You know, so I would do better with the rules, and that the rules were applied. And that's why we're not doing well today. We're not doing well today because we have this two-tiered system, and it's very obvious that we have this two-tiered system. And why do people care so much about the Epstein files and the people that are in there? Is because people are tired of certain people just getting away with shit.
Yeah.
That's why it's so high up and important to them, and why the president can't figure it out. I don't know why people care about this. Well, I'm telling you, Mr. President, the reason we care about it is because you have talked about the two-tiered system. It's the two-tiered system we see, and we wanted you to fix and thought that you were going to fix. And we see that in this particular instance, you don't seem to care very much. And we want you to care on principle. On principle. That's why it matters.
Absolutely. No, all right. I'm the same way. I think I would go with more traditional enforced rules as well.
Yeah. You got one more?
Yes, sir. So I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what your answer would be, but I figured I'd ask anyways. Would you rather go back and give advice to your 22-year-old self or receive advice from your future self?
Well, this one's pretty easy. For me, it's giving advice to my 22-year-old self. Because I think at 57, I've been through enough shit that would be the most valuable, and I would be able to make the most of it. Mm-hmm. Where now, it's not that I don't still have stuff to learn, but it's at a very different, it's at a very different level. Mm-hmm. Where I could have the greater impact is having known this sooner and being able to operate under that sooner and do it on purpose. Where sometimes I did the right thing, but I didn't do it as intentional as I do it now. It's about doing the right thing, or the things you know that are the best things to do, and doing them intentionally and choosing to make that happen versus you're hit and miss with it because you just haven't put it all together yet. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a big one about putting that all together, and, you know, the law of attraction that we've talked about and that kind of thing. So, 100%. You know, having that sooner. And that's why, you know, Leo knows it. Like, sometimes he gets life advice. He's gotten life advice from me, even if he didn't ask for it. But I share it on purpose because I wish I had that, or had somebody do that for me. Not that I didn't have some mentors, and I had a few good ones, but still nothing at this type of level. Yeah. And it's something that I feel like I can have an impact with. And when I meet somebody that I think that might actually even use it, then that's a big difference too. Because, you know, I always felt like I could tell 100 people how to do something and have a roadmap for them, and that I can prove that it works because I've specifically done it before, and all they have to do is follow that script, and maybe 2, maybe 3 out of the 100 would do it. So when I can find that couple people that will actually take those, you know, life nuggets and actually apply them, yeah, that's a big thing for me. So.
Yeah, that's the answer I was expecting, and you did kind of go over it because what I was going to ask was, do you feel like there's anything at this point in your life that you could still learn that your future self would tell you? But you did say no. There's plenty more that, not that you didn't say there wasn't anything, but there's still stuff you could.
I think the really smart people know that they don't know everything and aren't afraid to talk about the fact that they don't know everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Where some people are so insecure about that, they can't admit that there's some things they don't know.
Yeah,
you know,
no, that's 100%.
and that doesn't mean they can't be smart or successful, because I think Trump is like that sometimes too. You know, that, but I think that happens too because he's been attacked, and that's his armor that he puts up, you know, against those kinds of attacks. But it's nobody will make you think more than a hater.
Yeah,
you know, so they are useful in that, because you do have to evaluate it. Is there something about what they said? Because if it bothers you, then there might be something in there that might be true.
Yeah.
And what is that? And so, yeah, that going forward, and but still the biggest impact is still where I'm at now. Now, if you'd asked me this, you know, when I was, 40, might have been a different answer. Sure. But at 57, the answer where I could have the biggest impact is going back to the 22-year-old, for sure.
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was our third segment. Just those three questions there. Any closing points or statements on that?
No, I like that. That's a good place to finish on that. You know, yeah.
All right.
Time and find a good mentor.
Money can always be made, people. Always be made.
Yes, it can. It's not a finite resource.
Though we act like it is.
No,
look at how much the government prints. It just literally appears out of thin air.
Yes, it does. So next, we got one last thing to go over.
Yes, sir. Are we running short on time? Or are we good to go?
I'll leave that up to Troy. I don't work today.
What time are we doing the next thing?
What next? That's next week.
Larry's next week? Oh, I thought Larry was today after this.
20th.
Well, yeah.
My bad, man. I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah. We have that, and then we have on Tuesday.
Yeah. So we got some interviews coming up next week, people, that we'll be sharing with you. So, okay, yeah, then for sure. If we don't have Larry after this, let's finish this story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's roll with it.
I figured this was one you really want to
a little bit
chew into. So the third story we have for the day, DHS, Lord, shutdown imminent after Senate Democrats block Homeland Security bill.
Well, this all happened because if you remember when they voted on this, and I said that the president was making a mistake by giving up his leverage, that you just couldn't trust that the Democrats were going to make a deal on this one thing, which was related to the ICE funding. And that's exactly what's happened. They approved, funding for 5 things, and there were 6 things in the original bill, and the one that got taken out was the DHS funding, because that also includes funding for ICE, but it also includes for other things. Now, here's the thing, though. The thing is, when it comes to ICE funding, because of the amount of money that was put in the big, beautiful bill, they're going to be funded. They are not going to be shutting down. But there are areas where you and I are going to be affected. Dawn is supposed to, next week, she's supposed to go to St. Louis. Her kids are just outside of St. Louis.
All right.
And so she's going to be flying there. And it's probably the chances that they're going to have it done, because I think they're out all next week. I think Congress the Senate at least was done yesterday.
Yeah, they're out for the next 10 days now.
Yeah, then they're just done. They're not coming back.
Yeah, that's what it's for sure happening.
So it's just insane, and so it could affect, flights and stuff again. And people are just over this shit. Like, knock it the fuck off. But in this case, I think the Democrats really, really fucked up in thinking that they're going to be able to blame the president for this one.
No. I don't.
I think that between the two, I think they took the bigger hit, this last one, than the president did. But this one, it's on them. It's on them. Because they can't change it. It's already done in the big, beautiful bill. So they can't undo that part of it. So this is just about being in opposition, about trying to meet their base, about using it as a campaign issue, as we will, be talking more and more about midterms. And it's absolutely stupid on their part to be able to do this. Yes, things that they've talked about. Also in there, it's not really part of this, I don't think, or I don't know if it was included, but was the changing of rules, like wanting voter ID.
Oh, within this one as well.
I'm not sure.
So I'm gonna be honest, like voter ID, I did see it mentioned, but
it's being mentioned a lot, dude, because they're trying to do that, and they look silly about that. People across the board want voter ID. They just do. It's so insulting and so racist to say a certain group of people.
Bless you.
That a certain group of people can't do that. It's racist as fuck. And obviously that comes from the left. Jim Crow laws that they always talk about now. Mm-hmm. Do you know who that was? That after the slaves were freed, that segregated people again? It was Democrats that did that. Democrats were responsible for segregation. Democrats were responsible. If you, sometime we ought to play this. There is a video of Professor Swain. She's a black professor, and the video is on PragerU, and it debunks the myth of that the parties switched. That there was this big thing where, they kind of switched sides. Now, there were a couple people that did, but it was like two. Yeah. Okay. There was not this big switch over where all these racists then came to the Republican Party. That didn't happen. Yeah. And I don't know what the rules were, but it'd be interesting. Because I was into this yesterday, I want to find out. It was very interesting that the inconvenient truth about the Democratic Party. That's a great video to play for people. So that why did President Lincoln have a Democrat as a vice president? Like, how did they vote on that differently? They must have voted on it differently than they do today, where it's connected in the ticket like that. It couldn't have been like that. No, because after he was shot and killed, and Andrew Jackson became president, like he didn't agree with the policies of Lincoln, and he's the one that started down that different road, and he was a Democrat, of being and supporting the ones that were racist in there, because that's the whole reason of the founding of the Republican Party, was to oppose slavery. That was the whole reason it was even founded. But since we got a little time, let's play that video, because you've never heard of this video, have you?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you'll love this. This is really, really good because it's dead on. And I want to hear white women tell this black female professor that she's not right when this is literally what she does and studied and teaches. She's a professor at Vanderbilt.
That's pretty damn good school.
Yeah. You're not dumb if you go to Vanderbilt.
Hell no.
Yeah, that's not going to be.
That's just like you're not.
Yeah,
getting
Joe
a
Schmo
degree
Community
there.
College. Yeah. All right.
When you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party comes to mind? The Republicans or the Democrats? Most people would probably say the Democrats, but this answer is incorrect. Since its founding in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination. The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s. In contrast, the Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission was to stop the spread of slavery into the new Western territories with the aim of abolishing it entirely. This effort, however, was dealt a major blow by the Supreme Court in the 1857 case Dred Scott versus Sandford. The court ruled that slaves aren't citizens, they're property. The 7 justices who voted in favor of slavery, all Democrats. The 2 justices who dissented, both Republicans. The slavery question was, of course, ultimately resolved by a bloody civil war. The commander-in-chief during that war was the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, the man who freed the slaves. 6 days after the Confederate Army surrendered, John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, assassinated President Lincoln. Lincoln's vice president, a Democrat named Andrew Johnson, assumed the presidency.
I said Jackson. I was wrong.
But Johnson adamantly opposed
I did look it
Lincoln's
up, by the
plan
way,
to
and he did
integrate
choose him.
the newly freed
He
slaves
personally did choose
into
him.
the South's economic and social order. Johnson and the Democratic Party were unified in their opposition to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks the vote. All 3 passed only because of universal Republican support. During the era of Reconstruction, federal troops stationed in the South helped secure rights for the newly freed slaves. Hundreds of black men were elected to Southern state legislatures as Republicans, and 22 black Republicans served in the U.S. Congress by 1900. The Democrats did not elect a black man to Congress until 1935. But after Reconstruction ended, when the federal troops went home, Democrats roared back into power in the South. They quickly reestablished white supremacy across the region with measures like black codes, laws that restricted the ability of blacks to own property and run businesses, and they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote. And how was all of this enforced? By terror, much of it instigated by the Ku Klux Klan, founded by a Democrat, Nathan Bedford Forrest. As historian Eric Foner, himself a Democrat, notes, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal agencies and even screened the first movie ever played at the White House, the racist film, The Birth of a Nation, originally entitled The Klansman. A few decades later, the only serious congressional opposition to the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 came from Democrats. 80% of Republicans in Congress supported the bill, less than 70% of Democrats did. Democratic senators filibustered the bill for 75 days until Republicans mustered the few extra votes needed to break the logjam. And when all of their efforts to enslave blacks, keep them enslaved, and then keep them from voting had failed, the Democrats came up with a new strategy. If black people are going to vote, they might as well vote for Democrats. As President Lyndon Johnson was purported to have said about the Civil Rights Act, I'll have them voting Democrat for 200 years. So now, the Democratic Party prospers on the votes of the very people it has spent much of its history oppressing. Democrats falsely claim that the Republican Party is the villain, when in reality, it's the failed policies of the Democratic Party that have kept blacks down. Massive government welfare has decimated the black family. Opposition to school choice has kept them trapped in failing schools. Politically correct policing has left black neighborhoods defenseless against violent crime. So when you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party should come to mind? I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University for Prager University.
Just facts.
Is
that pretty powerful?
Oh yeah, that's something that a friend of mine talk about all the time. How it's been the Democrats from the start that specifically aiming towards black people, manipulating them and getting to acts of terrorism basically within their communities. He was actually the first one that kind of opened my eyes into that when I was getting into politics. You know, as you get older, I'm like, well, I want to fucking have a say in what's going on here. And he was like kind of like confused about a lot of things I was saying, and he took the time to do like a deep dive with me, which I'm very appreciative of. And yeah, that's basically what he told me years ago. Like nobody else had ever even thought about bringing that up whatsoever. And now to see her basically reiterate everything that he told me, it's just.
That's a good thing to talk about because it is Black History Month.
I wasn't.
Which is American history.
I didn't actually.
There's American
associated
history.
with that, but yeah, that's what I'm saying though. It's just crazy to me that everyday people like you and I can point things out like that, but people want to act willfully blind for some reason.
Yeah.
And there's no real, like, you can't point on one specific reason because they don't even fucking know the reason.
Right.
That's what gets so confusing about this shit to me. And it's like a fucking nonstop carousel of bullshit 24/7.
It is. And the carousel will continue this weekend. And we'll be back on Monday morning to talk about it. We appreciate y'all. We need you to check out our socials. This is also being broadcast on Rumble now, so we're hitting a bunch of different platforms now. You got something to add?
Yeah,
throw it in there.
Rumble, Kick, and Twitch, and YouTube. So all four are going to be, and then soon to be Instagram and TikTok as well.
We're trying, people. Try along with us. Spread the word. I'm just a guy. Just a fucking guy. And have a great weekend. Much love. This is the Outlaw Apostle Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Neff. I'm the fucking guy.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never. I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah. Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back.